lobbying and, you know, how to support each other in, you know, or, yeah.
But even if you support each other, you are yelling at each other at some moment. And I think there is a very important element in your work as well, I think about your slapstick films, is humor and self-irony. Is this a tool which is very crucial in your work, which helps to collaborate and to get over certain questions?
Well, this leads me to talk briefly about the Guerrilla Girls. The Guerrilla Girls figured out that bra burning wasn't working, and so they dressed up as gorillas and remained anonymous, which is important, and then they started publishing posters that fingered individual male artists who were allowing their work to be shown in galleries where no women were represented at all. And then they fingered the galleries, and then they fingered the press. And then they figured out that if they could help people to laugh at the absurdity of the situation that we are in. If you're a woman, you can laugh at it, and if you're a man, you can laugh at it too. That this is a way for subjects to be discussed, period. This is what Berenice says in her essay. Humor is a way that we can broach subjects that we really don't want to talk about, but if we can laugh about it, then we can talk about it, put it in the open. Well, and they've been successful to the point where if you organize an exhibition of all men, you will be laughed out of the art world. And that is because of the Guerrilla Girls, because of their work.
And then they moved on to Hollywood and worked there.
Yes.
Until now.
Yeah.
Other questions?
There is.
Yeah, I would be interested was in the 70s and how is it today? Is this a female art, performance art, or are there also men who work as real performance artists? That would be interesting for me. Of course, I know there were a lot of performances also from men, but isn't it a female and feminist art?
I'm not sure I understand your question. Are you saying that there feminist performance art in the 70s? Is that the question?
No, maybe I might. I think the question is if the realm and the space of the performance media is a space where very early women artists could experiment and could use it for their art practice. And I think it's because it doesn't have this long traditional history.
Yes.
So parallel to media like video or photography, it was kind of a new area where they could define for themselves. Is this the question? Until today, and your question is if it's until today more a feminist tool than a male artist tool.
I mean, one phrase I always use is suffragettes invented performance art. From Leslie Hill. So that maybe explains a lot, you know, sort of also because it was not so sort of painting or other sort of art fields it had more kind of like performance or maybe also dance or these ephemeral sort of more art forms it was easier, I think, for women to sneak in and then to find their own sort of maybe form. And now there is even some kind of an art history, but it's not so linear. And also, if you think of Isadora Duncan, for example, or somebody like that, I always like to think that.
Now, we shouldn't forget Ulrike Rosenbach. I mean, she was a pioneer in video art, and she was really the first one who did excellent and very experimental performances with video. Yes, and why could she? Because it was no history. Men didn't use them. She was more or less first.
Who was that?
Ulrike Rosenbach, a German.
She has just been here and gave a talk. Yeah, I think 3 weeks ago. Yeah, we were in London.
And she was yelling on her partner, male partner, because he claimed for himself, I was the first. I did it I inspired you to take this medium. Yeah? It's quite a fight.
Yeah, and I think it might have started already with photography. Yeah, the same, because we have to be aware that women only could study at art universities at the beginning of the 20th century. Yeah. So many artists who are today part of the history of art started as photographers, just taking pictures of people without being allowed to go to art universities. And it's a kind of, a self-reflexive media, which continues, of course, with the first video possibilities. Yeah, like we can see in your work, the self-mirroring, the analysis of the self, of the gesture, of the whole drama is very important here, I think. So,
or comments. If you don't have a question and you just want to shoot your mouth off, go ahead.
Hi. My question would be if your work within the Franklin Furnace archive or within the Franklin Furnace as such, if at the beginning you were already convinced that it is part of your artistic work, or if there was ever kind of
that's a good question.
Shift where you felt more like an organizer, like an archivist, like a curator, like something like this.
So Ivan Karp yelled at me, and then I started a business to show art that I thought was important. And it took a lot of time because I was, I had friends, but I was basically doing the whole thing myself. I resented the amount of time that it took to start an organization and gain not-for-profit status and raise the money and present the work. And so I called my friend Anne Folk on the phone. Anne Folk had started an organization in Seattle called And/Or Gallery. And I complained to her, administration takes up so much time. She said, why can't we consider administration to be an artistic practice? Because you have to solve problems all day. It's exactly what you do as an artist, too. You think up the angles and you figure out how you're going to do this thing and how it's going to come out looking good at the end, right? Oh my God, what a relief that was. I didn't do much work, though. I did work in Halifax, moved to New York, did disband, and started Franklin Furnace, and didn't do any photo text work or video, or I did some performance, but really nothing physical for a while. And one of the pieces I had done in Halifax was shown at Guildhall, which is out in Long Island, in the Hamptons, where the rich people live. And a dealer saw it and asked me if I had anything else. And so I said, yeah, it's under my bed. It's been there since Ivan Karp yelled at me. So I put it all on top of the bed, and he went around and said, okay, I want to show this and this and this and this. This was Mitchell, his name is Mitchell August. So my first solo exhibition in New York was in 2008 at Mitchell August Gallery, and it was all of the work that I had done in Canada 30 years before that. So then we sold it. We sold some of this work, and I thought, oh, this is a pretty good gig. Being a feminist of the 70s is great. So then I started doing new photo text work, and now I've joined another gallery called PPOW Gallery that's run by two women who started in the East Village in 1982, and they show Carola Schneemann, and they show David Warnerovich, and they show Martin Wong, and I'm very happy.
Is there anything you would do differently now looking back? Or you could have
I would be born with money.
So I think we will close by now, and we will have more possibilities to talk afterwards. The opening, I think, is at 7 o'clock. Again, we take a little break, and thank you so much, Martha and Carola, for this wonderful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.